Welcome everyone to the 209 Journey podcast. I'm your host, Luis. And before I introduce my special guest tonight, I wanted to remind you all, if you don't know yet, I now have a website, the 209journey.com, and that's your place to listen to episodes, watch episodes as well, because I have my YouTube channel hooked to it, and also leave me a comment on specific episodes because each episode gets its own page. You can also contact me on there if you have questions to ask. That's the place to do it. I get the message and I'll get back to you, hopefully same day as well, because I do get the email right away once a form gets submitted there. So again, check it out, the 209journey.com. All right, well, let me go ahead and introduce my special guest tonight here. Her name is Michelle Hensley, and she is actually the creator of the Meet the Maker space, which is actually a Lodi Ceramics Studio, and also a listener of the 209 Journey, which is really awesome whenever I reach out to a guest and I find out that they also listen to an episode or two. It's just great, and it's probably going to keep happening as I continue to interview people. So it's really awesome, and I really appreciate it. But welcome to a 209 Journey, Michelle. How are you?
Hello. Thank you for having me on. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Glad that we're getting a break from how hot it's been. I know last few days it's almost felt like it's like record level temperatures, and this week, even though it's 105 instead of 112, it just feels like at least we're getting something, right?
Right, a little
So
bit.
we're getting a break from it, and thankfully it's going to keep going down, and it's just we're also thankful for that. Hopefully it keeps stay in the 90s because I'm trying to enjoy the fairs, and they're making it really tough to go out to the fair when it's extremely hot.
Right? Yes.
Well, I know we were talking offline quite a bit, that you were telling me that you basically have been living in Lodi most of your life. I know you moved there when you were 6, and I think I haven't really had that many guests from Lodi. So just tell me more about what it's been like, living in Lodi, how you've seen it change, and like just things that go on in Lodi that people who aren't familiar with Lodi should know.
Okay. Lodi is different. It's very community based. I feel like Lodi really looks out for each other. Um, it's kind of got an old fashioned kind of feel to it. It's a little bit progressive, um, but it's got a really kind of an old town kind of charm to it. Uh, and it's just I just love Lodi. It's a great place to raise a family. All my kids were born here. We moved away to Sonoma County for a while, but my kids came back, brought my grandkids here. They're raising their children here. They see the value in the community of Lodi, so that's really special.
That's really awesome. No, I'm glad that we have those like smaller towns still that you have like local events that go on there too. I know that I just got the chance to go to the street fair a few months ago, and I had a lot of fun just seeing just the amount of vendors that you guys get out there, and just how they close different streets, and it's just so packed too. I know I had a hard time finding parking, but ended up finding parking, walked a little bit, and I enjoy walking, so that's a plus. But it's really great to see just the different things that you guys have going on there too, and that you could still keep a small community in the town.
Right, right. And we've got Lodi Lake, and you said you haven't been to Lodi very much, but we've got Lodi Lake with the nature walking area that is just so beautiful. If you're a bike rider, you should see our bike lanes. They are wide, so it's safe if you're on a bike and using those bike lanes. Um, it's a very, I feel like it's a family forward community. And even if you aren't raising children here, it's a real friendly community, I think. And
And
there's
you, yeah.
always something going on, it seems, at one of the wineries, or
Oh.
you know one of the nurseries. We've got Star Succulent Nursery. They've always got events going on. um, so there's always something to do in town.
Oh yeah, no, especially I mean you brought up a good thing right there, the wineries, right? And how Lodi is like our like just winery capital of the 209, I would say, right? Because you do have all that, and you have people that are coming from other places going there, right? I mean, I know Napa is what's known more for the wine, but if people don't want to go to Napa because they're like, oh, I don't want to go over there, the crowds, or I don't want to drive over there and just stay here, like we got a
Right.
really good spot here in Lodi, right?
For sure. For sure. And now, I mean, I feel like we even have a little more to offer than Napa, because Napa's got a lot of wineries. I used to live in Sonoma County, kind of near the Napa area. Um, but I feel like we have even more to offer. You know, the downtown Lodi, uh, and now you can come do ceramics. Can definitely make a whole weekend out of it that involves more than just wine tasting.
hmm Yeah, and not to mention again the traffic in the Bay Area and
Yeah.
and all that too. Right? It's like you're not gonna have that over here, unless a train is passing by, right? But it's not gonna last forever. That's our traffic. I always tell people, right? It's like we're behind
Daughter,
a tractor.
um, say, "Oh, I don't want to go to Sprouts. It's all the way across town." And she's like, everything in Lodi is 7 minutes away. You know, it's not like big town. You can get anywhere in like 7 minutes.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, from 99 to I-5, right? Too. It's like you want to go hop on the other freeway, like just yeah,
Yeah.
you'll be able. You'll have that. And like you said, yeah, other things to do. Yeah, just like the ceramic studio and all that. And it's just really awesome when you see all these different businesses that maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago weren't as like prevalent here on the 209, just start to form more here. And like I always say, like we're keeping more people here so they don't have to drive somewhere far and just to go to that, right? And to spend their money over there too. Because I always say it, right? Like you don't just go over there, you're also gonna like buy other things there and like eat food over there, and it's not gonna stay here local. So local business drives local business, right? So it's great when you could see more things happening here, and just keeping people here, keeping people on 99 or I-5, right? But one of those two, but keeping them here.
And Lodi and Stockton are so close that I almost feel like it's same, same. Um, uh, can I also mention, I have not had an opportunity to go, but there's a coin op place in Stockton, arcades, pinballs, and stuff that I'm dying to get to. But that's another, thing that you don't see in every town, unless you're going to San Francisco or Sacramento. But our little community, we've got something like that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Yeah, because that is another thing too, right? And it's like I know times change, and I know that, some, like kids nowadays, they want to just play games online and all that, but that there's a big market for the arcades, right? I'm just saying, like, there's still a market for it too, and there's a reason why here at the Modesto Mall we got the Dave and Buster's, and there's a lot of people going there, right? But it's like I was just there the other day, and it's a little expensive going there, and I'm like, if I'm gonna spend that money, I think I'd much rather spend it at a local arcade, right? If it's going to a local business owner. So I was a little like thrown off by that. Luckily, I had a special offer because I was like, I'm not spending full price on that. But I'm glad that those things are happening. I know that it's a challenge, right, for probably businesses sometimes to feel like, am I going to get people here? But all it takes is like a mention, right? You mentioning it, people knowing about it, us spreading the word about it too. And like I talk to people and all that, and it's like, let's go help support that so we keep those things here. And like you said, people don't have to drive outside of our general area to go and
Right.
enjoy those things and all that too. And thankfully, there's more things like bowling. I know Lodi just opened a bowling alley a few years ago, right?
Right. And we have a zoo. Okay. It's a zoo that is special in my heart. Probably not, I mean, it's obviously not like the Sacramento Zoo, but we have a zoo, and they rehabilitate animals, or they take care of animals that can't be out in the wild. So it's something, and it's ours.
And Lodi is the only place around the 209 that can actually say that they have a zoo, right? I
Right.
mean, and I'm not even counting petting zoos. I mean, we can't count them in the mix because that's not it's not the same thing, right? And those only happen during like fair times if they even have that. But uh,
Right.
I'm glad they do. Yeah, I'm glad that they have that, and hopefully it grows more one day. I mean, hopefully I know there's some like land space there, and I don't know.
Oh,
Hopefully they get more animals. I think that would be.
I would
I
love
think
to see a little more money go to Mickey Grove Zoo.
Yeah, because it's nice. It's nice to have a place where you might not spend half your day there, but you can go there for a few hours, and
Right.
they see some animals that you wouldn't see here ever locally.
Right. So you've got a lot you can do when you come visit us.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All throughout, yeah, yeah. Before you like even dare to keep going, like you can be kept pretty busy, and you don't even have to go to Stockton yet. Like you're just stopping by Lodi, and there's even some hotels now there along 99, and
Right.
you could just stay there, dedicate a day or two at least.
Ab-
So I want to change gears now and talk a little bit more about ceramics and what you do. Can you tell me more about like before we talk about how the studio got started, where your hobby came from? Like where did that passion to have ceramics and build stuff with different things that you do? Where did that come from?
So I took ceramics in high school, 1985. It's been a while. But I took ceramics and I was the TA for the ceramics class. I loved it. Um, for whatever reason, it did not occur to me that this was something I could do after high school. You know, um, I guess the the giant kiln, and you see everything, the pug mill, and extruder, and all the big equipment that they've got in the classroom. It just didn't occur to my 18-year-old mind that I could somehow do this after high school. So I didn't do anything with ceramics for years and years and years. It was actually my kids looking online and buying these ceramic cups for $60, and trying to buy these cups, and oh, they sold out so fast, and I'd be like, I can make that. And finally one year my daughter's like, okay, she gives me a gift certificate to a place in Sacramento, and she says, go make us cups. And I went to 2 classes in Sacramento, and I was absolutely addicted again. I got rid of my dining room table. I was living in an apartment at this time. I got rid of my dining room table and I bought a pottery wheel after 2 classes. It's everybody will tell you, and most people will tell you after doing ceramics, it is so relaxing, so calming. There's something very almost therapeutic about it, that you just fall in love with it. And so for me, I just, after that, I was all in.
You're like, I gotta have a studio. I gotta have a space that's closer, so you don't have to drive to Sacramento all the time.
Exactly. That's what happened. People ask me, why, how did you open a studio? And I say, have you ever read the book, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie? Because that's what happened. It's like I started ceramics, I got a pottery wheel, now I'm making stuff. Where am I going to fire it? I'm driving it to Sacramento to get fired, and then I'm like, I need a place to put a kiln. And literally, so I took my first class the end of February of 2023, and by August I had signed a lease for this place because I needed to do ceramics closer than was just something that had to happen.
Sometimes you have to, build it yourself and
Yeah,
you'll
I
have a solution.
for people to come hang out and do ceramics with me. You know, things haven't been, I mean, I thought I was going to open a space and facilitate, but Lodi hasn't had a ceramic studio in like 40 years. So people didn't know people didn't know how to do the wheel. They didn't wet clay. What are we doing? Do I, am I going to make something and take it home? And, people didn't really understand the process. So it evolved. From what I thought I was going to be opening to today, but I have a studio where people come hang out with me and do ceramics with me. So that's what I wanted.
Wow, yeah, no, I mean, we were just talking about it right now, right? Again, different cities haven't really had different businesses, and like ceramics is example here, right? Like they hadn't had that, and so people were like, "We've heard of that," or isn't that like a thing you go and do at like a big city, and
Huh.
you see on Groupon and all that on like Sacramento or San Francisco?
Or, people mention Ghost. They are familiar with the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, and that's about the limit of their experience with.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that is an iconic movie with that. So,
Right.
like, that's all we know. Uh, well, you said, I mean, in such a short time, you were already signing the lease and all that. So, like, in those first few months, and I know, like, I mean, you haven't had a year quite yet. I mean, you're almost at the year mark. But like, how have these like months, especially the first 3 4 months, like, how were they like? Because I know as with any business, there's always those challenges, especially when you're opening a new storefront.
Yeah. It was quite a challenge. So my career that I had for 27 years, I was an orthodontic laboratory technician. I had my own orthodontic laboratory. I found this space that had a back room, and I'm like, okay, that's where I'll do my orthodontic lab work, and then, ceramics up front. Um, and quickly, I was devoting more time to the ceramics. Uh, and so eventually the orthodontic laboratory just kind of fell away, got rid of that. Um, but so many changes. I thought I was facilitating, like, here's a studio, come do ceramics, to, oh, I'm going to be showing these people how to do ceramics. And um, I have a little social anxiety. I get nervous around people sometimes. Um, and so I remember my first day, someone was in the shop with me, a friend, and I'm upstairs at Bellaterra Plaza. Um, and I'm upstairs and I see someone come up the stairs, and I duck down behind the desk and I'm like, oh God, don't come in, please don't come in. I'm nervous about people, but the 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 ceramic studio is drawing the most beautiful kind of people here, um, and I'm just finding and meeting the most wonderful kind of people, uh, and so it's helped me come out of my shell a little bit. So I don't know your question, but so many changes. Personally, I've been challenged, with my own comfort level. And then also just kind of what Lodi wants, what Lodi, finding that groove of what Lodi wants, what works for Lodi. Um, at first I open studio time, here you go. Now I'm doing classes, 5-week class, a 2-week crash course, and then I'm also hosting events, uh, sipping ceramics one night, and then the next weekend we might be making mugs, the next weekend it's something else. So again, those events that you can come to, bring a friend to, um, and so that's been working.
Yeah. Well, that definitely answers the question. And those are definitely challenges too, especially, the social anxiety. Like I get you, like I've been there, and even at times I still can get it. But like just like with you and opening the business, it really does help you, right? And stepping out of your shell with me with podcasting, I went through the same thing as well here. So it's just I mean, it's really just facing your fears, right? Like, as people say, and then it just becomes natural, and you're like, well, you know what? I didn't realize that I
Right.
could actually talk to people, or I'm actually a great teacher, right? And like, I actually enjoy this. Yeah.
And the thing is, I think if you're genuine, just be yourself and your people will find you.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of what I've done. And I'm finding a great community. I love it. I love the people that come here.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. And now they're the ones that are probably like stepping in and probably feeling that like social anxiety while you're probably now probably opening the door for them. Inviting them over too, which is also great, right? Because I think again, oftentimes people do need the encouragement of others to step out of their shell. Sometimes it doesn't come from within; it comes from like with the others, right? Like kind of maybe pushing you, or maybe I'm sure in some of the classes, right? Like you seeing people come together and being like, "I only came because my friend came and they told me to go, and now they're here. Now they're also stepping out of their shell, right?" So it's like you're not only teaching them ceramics, but you're also helping them gain some more social skills, which is amazing.
And I also like to think that I'm awkward enough that anybody is like, oh, I'm fine here. I can be my, you know, I'm a whole vibe.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a big thing for sure, right? It's like relating to others, being like, okay, you get me, you know what I'm going through,
Yeah.
and then that's that. uh, well, as I was going through your website, I was seeing that you also have a shop and all that. So I was wondering if you could just talk to me more about like how you get your inspiration from the different designs that you do. And for those of you watching on video, I'll actually be sharing your website here so people can see the different things you have on the shop.
Okay. I a lot of my stuff, a lot of my newer stuff is not up, but I think as I'm working, I kind of see what the clay is doing, and sometimes it just sparks something in me. Like, oh, this reminds me of, Star Trek, or yeah, it was something else, whatever, kind of whatever, a podcast I listened to on the whaling industry, which is an actual, thing that I kind of went on. Um, but I'm inspired by all those little things. Trips to Joshua Tree, you'll see in some of my things. Trips to Mendocino. I take time and I like to go off on my own and really look at small details and things. Um, and yeah, just my things. I don't do a lot of the same thing, like production potters. I think the closest you'll get to that is if you've been to Ruby's Cafe. I made vases for their tables, and none of them are identical. They look like they're all in the same family, but none of them are twins. Um, Everything is hand lettered. I don't like to use stencils, and I just like to keep things organic, and like put myself into what I'm doing.
Oh yeah. No, I think it's actually great when it's unique because it's like you have a unique item, right? It's not the
Yeah,
same thing over and over again. It's not what you would find at a store that is like mass produced. It's like, no, I have something unique. Unique
right.
design, that's mine.
If you're at one of the pop-up shops or the events I'm at, and you pick up something that you love, you need to get it because that's the only one.
Mhm.
And I'm already on something else, and you know something different.
Yeah, it's a super limited edition.
Yeah, yeah.
So, So if anyone is coming by, they need to make sure that they buy it and don't come back because that might not be there, and then you're not gonna be able to get it too. Now, do you also do custom requests if someone is like, "Hey, can you do this? Can you like put my name on this, like mug or something else on this vase?"
Okay, I had someone that wanted coffee cups for coworkers. She actually came in as I threw, and she had a list of the people she wanted for. And so she's like, okay, make that one really big, or make that one small, or make that. And so she was there with me as I was throwing. And then she came back as I was attaching the handles. She was like, I want kind of a square handle on that one. And then I have the alphabet, stamps, and she stamped their names in, and then she came back and we glazed them together. So, she had a part in it, but she didn't want to throw them. Um, but yeah, absolutely. I love doing uh, requests like that. But people have to know I put my own I put my own spin on things. Even in the orthodontic laboratory, when I made retainers, like no two retainers were the same. I If it was an ocean retainer, I was something because I had to keep it fun for me.
Mhm.
So it's
No.
a surprise.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I mean, it's something nice to be able to like put your own like twist to it, and just make sure that people get something different and it's not the same thing. It's just
Right,
I think that's how it should be. Yeah, like it's just there's nothing great in buying something that someone else already bought, because then it
right,
doesn't feel special, I think, to you. So yeah.
right, right,
But plus, I think also, I mean, when you're making, even if you try to make something similar, there's always going to be something that is not going to be the same. And so, I guess it could
yeah,
still be unique in that way too.
right, for, for sure.
Now, also, since I'm already on the website here, let's talk about the classes that you offer. And like, I mean, you mentioned, right, people like maybe weren't as familiar with ceramics or had never really done that, and so I'm sure there's more classes maybe for beginners, but for those people who have done it, I'm sure there's probably also for advanced. But can you talk about some of the classes that you offer, and there are different things that we're seeing here on the screen?
So, hand building, we always start out letting people know the different techniques. We ask, do you have an idea of what you'd like to make? We give them some ideas. And some people are like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to play. And some people want, a little guidance as they go. And there's always someone here ready to do that. So we don't really have classes on the hand building unless it's a workshop we're doing. Um, Now for wheel throwing, that is more complicated. We have some different levels. If you've got company from out of town, or you just want to do a date night, we've got the one and done where we center the clay for you. We'll guide you through throwing, help you make what you want to make, uh, and then your part is done. We will clean up after you. We'll trim your pieces, glaze them according to your direction, do the two firings, and then it's ready to go. Um, we have a kind of a crash course, two session workshop where we'll guide you through the whole process. I see balloons going up.
Yeah.
Process. During two sessions, and that's included in the one price of 55. Then we've got a 5-week course where it's much slower. You really have more time to develop those skills of centering, pulling up a cylinder, making cups and bowls. And that's in the beginner throwing. And then we have an advanced throwing where you'll go on to make more complicated items. Uh, And then we have the, I think just the independent wheel throwing. So someone that's had experience, they've been coming, they're more familiar, they're ready to kind of work on their own. Then we have that session. It's $27 for 90 minutes. But when you throw on the wheel, you have to make arrangements to come back and finish your work because it's so wet. There's not a lot you can do with it. And I think I went through them all.
No, I think it's really awesome that you have different options, people. I like the membership thing as well, right? Whenever people can come to the studio and gives them that opportunity, right, to kind of like choose their day and their time, and make sure that it kind of fits with their schedule there, and that you also have one for, like you said, the one and done. You just want to plan a date night, you have that option, or if you want to dedicate more time and maybe you're a local there, you can actually be there more often and practice
Right.
your skills more. So
And the two memberships, we have memberships for weekly. So it's like a kind of basically a 4-pack that you're buying of tickets. That gives you a little bit of a price break. And then the unlimited membership is for ones that have been coming in. We see that they know how to take care of the equipment. They can throw independently. They kind of know the etiquette of working in a studio. Those individuals get a key to the studio, so they really can come anytime. They get their own clay, a shelf, and they can come as much as they want. So that's a really good one for someone who I would have loved that. If
Yeah, you're like, "That it would have been great." No, I'm glad that you also have that, because for people who are maybe more like serious about it and maybe also have their own ceramics business, but maybe they live in an apartment. Well, maybe like in your case, right, where it's like you might have not had that space when you were in the apartment,
right,
but you can have your space right here for storage, or maybe you don't have the money to actually like invest in the equipment because I'm sure it's really expensive, right? And also the material and all that, but you'd much rather have your space there. I think it's great for them to have that. And I'm sure, do you have people who like also have businesses that kind of use the space to help build their business?
yes, I have an esthetician who's making her own. She is it's really organic, clean products, and she makes her own mixing bowls and spoons and some different tools that she makes out of the ceramics here. I've talked her into, why don't you sell these? Because all of her friends love them, and I'm like, you're making them, sell them. So she's getting into that now. Um, I have a wonderful watercolor artist who is making her own paint palettes. And she says there's nothing like this on the market, that's designed for a painter. There's round palettes, there's, different kind of palettes. And so now she's making them and making them for others.
Mhm.
So I think it's really exciting. There's just about nothing that you can't make out of ceramics. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, I could think of, yeah, there are a lot of things, and even things that aren't commonly done in ceramics that you're like, "Oh, you could do that. That'd be actually really cool to to do that." Yeah.
Yeah, it's super fun. I think one of my favorite things that I made, and not very artfully done, um, but I made a small replica of my grandmother's house, uh,
Oh.
back open, and I painted I painted all the separate rooms and did the little lines for, like, here was the bathroom, here was the kitchen, and I have it sitting in my little flower pot out front. But it's like, ceramics is so wonderful. There's so much you can do with it, and it's very empowering. I don't know how much time we have left, but can I share? I was invited to Lodi Unified
Mhm.
to do ceramics with kids at the after school bridge program. Now I found out that certain kids were invited to attend those special events. It wasn't open for everyone, but I knew somebody that worked at the school, and I said, please let all the kids come. If they want to come, let them come, no matter how bad they are in class, you know. Well, at the end of it all, I was talking to the administrator of Lodi Unified who arranged for me to go. She said she got such wonderful feedback that some of the most, I don't want to say difficult students, but some of the students that struggle the most, maybe staying in their seat or staying on task, were some of the best behaved in those sessions. They were the ones that didn't want to get up. They were the ones that didn't want to leave. I think that we need art. We need access to art. We need access to gardening. I mean, kids need a reason to put their phone down, to focus on something, and to be able to get into that state where they can relax their mind, relax their body. And this is something that art can give them. Sorry. And so that's really my passion, is being able to bring art to the people, to the families, not just the children, but to the families that need it most.
Yeah, no, and yeah, I'm really glad that you're doing that for the community. And I've always said, right, the power of art and changing people's lives, right? It's not only as a, I mean, it's a thing that you do because you enjoy, but I think that just it's a I think you mentioned earlier, right, like a form of therapy in
Right,
itself, right? And they, like, I think just the concept of just being so concentrated and one task, doing one thing and not really thinking about anything else going on. Like you said, put the phones down because generations these days, it's like they live with their phone and they can't put it down for even a quick second. It just helps them to get to see that other side. But thanks to people like yourself that can actually provide that space, or all the people in the community, we're able to actually give them that opportunity to do that outside of just school. Because
right,
I could think back to when I was going to school, like we didn't really have that many like art centers outside. It's almost like if you wanted to do art, it had to be in a classroom. But then
right,
once you were out, it's like, well, where do you go now? I mean, you could do it at home, but it's not the same thing as when you're in the space, when you can be inspired by instructors like yourself, like other people that are taking a class there, and you're surrounded by just much more access to more equipment, um, to more materials, and I would say more often than not, even better materials than what is provided nowadays in schools. Because I've heard few things, and even growing up, I remember, I mean, it wasn't as sophisticated. You didn't really have that much equipment in your art class, and it was more like simple concepts. Ceramics wasn't really a thing as much, and not all schools offer that. Like my school, I don't recall it even being offered. So it's great to have another place like your place that can actually have that for anyone, right? For anyone who wants to learn, who anyone who doesn't really know, and just get to do that. So I'm glad that you heard that story, and that you're able to like make a change like that, because it's just so great when your hobby can help you change other people's lives. It's just amazing, right? You do what you love, and other people are also like seeing their life change.
it's amazing, and it never fails. You know, I get a group in that I'm doing a wheel lesson, or whether they're hand building. It's like there's laughter and chatter and all this noise kind of in the first half hour, and then suddenly it just silence, and they're not even they're there with their friend, but they're not even talking. They're just in such a zone, and then that's when it becomes really relaxing, and I see it happen over and over and over, and it's just wonderful.
Yeah, something about I think they get to a point where it has to be more like total concentration, right? I feel like it, right? Like when you're doing ceramic, because I haven't done ceramics before, but I'm assuming maybe at the beginning you have more time to maybe not be as concentrated, but then you get to a point where you got to be really concentrated, right? You can't have distractions, so you don't mess anything up, right? Is that how that works?
It's you get to the point where you're kind of fine tuning your piece. You're brushing away the little, you're smoothing away the little cracks, and it's, I don't know what it is about it. You've got to try it. You've got to come try it.
Oh yeah, no, that's been something I've been wanting to do for a few months now. As I mean, I talk to people in the art community, and then I'm like, oh, I want to do that, and that, and all that, and so it's great to be able to try something new and like you said, get to experience that like complete concentration of like I'm putting the phone to the side, I'm putting it on silent, and I'm actually like gonna concentrate on this like piece of art, which I think like I just keep saying more and more people need to like get back to that because I think that a lot of people don't realize that they have a passion for the arts
Right.
because there's just so much distractions in life that they never get the opportunity to be at like a place like yours. And so when you have more of those studio spaces that are in different cities like yours, like Hatch Workshop in Stockton, like the Modesto Art Academy, like it just having all these different avenues for people to go, for others maybe to encourage people to, like as I just mentioned, that person who brings the friend who's maybe like socially awkward, but is like, no, no, you gotta come. You got. I think you're gonna enjoy it. And then they end up finding that, hey, you know what? I really enjoy this, and I never thought I was an art person. Uh,
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's like and there was someone, he came, his same kind of situation as me. Him and his wife came. He threw on the wheel 2 or 3 times. He went out and bought a pottery wheel. Same thing. So now he brings his stuff here to hire. Um, he'll go out. After a day of work, he'll go out and throw on the wheel, and his wife will come out and say, "It's 11 o'clock at night. Still out here," and he has no concept of how hot he is, what time it is, how his back is aching because he's been hunched over the wheel so long. Like, just such a state of relaxation that nothing else matters. It's like from everything, which is so nice.
wow. Oh.
Something that a lot of the schools are no longer offering. They don't have art teachers, they don't have music classes, you know. So that's a shame.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. Especially these days when I think it's needed more than ever before because of just life and technology and all that. And yes, it's nice to do art on technology, like I mean tablets and all that. It's amazing, right? What you could do on them, but I think nothing beats just the traditional way of doing art, of actually like using your hands to build something, not
Yeah.
just clicking around or
Right.
moving your finger on a tablet. It's just, I think it's not the same.
Right. They say that I read an article that 75% of people who engage in ceramics or that kind, something, an art form like that where your hands are involved, it lowers your the stress hormone, the cortisol levels. So it's like an actual physical thing.
Wow. Well, I think that might be related to the whole concentration thing, right? When people are so in tuned in one thing, it's like you put all stress aside and you're just focused on that. And I mean, the more people discover that in themselves, even better, right? Like, I mean, that there's medication that people might take to help relieve with like anxiety and stress and all that. But if using the art can be a way for you to achieve the same thing that you would achieve through medication, like that would be so powerful, right? People wouldn't have to depend on anything else, and you could just go and spend your money at, the local ceramic studio like yours, and actually, not have to like depend too much on this too, and just go and
Right.
and just build a community, find people, and meet friends and all that. I mean, it's a great place, like you said, right, for people to go and talk to each other and just just not think about any other stress in life and build something. Because I don't think anyone can say that they don't feel happy when they build something. You could say like, I made that.
Yes.
No one
Yes.
could say otherwise. I wouldn't think so.
Right. Real sense of accomplishment.
So I think it's all those factors that kind of like play together to achieve what you're saying, right? That they
Right.
found, and I'm glad. Hopefully, they do more studies on that and just publicize those studies more, so people can get that motivation to like, hey, let me go out and do different like artsy things and
Right.
just find what I can do best and just do all that.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about events. I know that you have a few that are just coming soon, some that are like literally just like in the next day or two as I post
Right.
this, and others that are like a few weeks like ahead. But just
Let's
tell me a few of those.
So, let's see. On Friday night at the studio, we are having a Sip and Ceramics at 5:30. It's a 2-hour hand building event. $25, 2 hours. On Saturday, we're going to be at Jesse's Grove for their first annual Flower Fest. So we'll be one of their vendors, and that starts at 10:30. Let me see. I have little notes here. And then I know I've got something else going on. Okay. Yeah, the Flower Fest is July 30th, 10:30. Lodi Art Hop at Idle Beer, August 17th on Sacramento Street, from 5 to 7 p.m. Lodi Art Hop, they invite different artists to come out. I think they have 10 artists. So that'll be fun to see what's going on. And then we have a few more events that you can find on our Instagram and on our website. But let's see, July 20th, we have a mug making workshop. And then July 28th, we'll have another hand building event. So three in studio events coming up, and 2 events where we're going to be taking our items out for the public.
Nice, that's awesome. It's glad that there's a different mixture of them, and that you can go and check out any of those. And I do really like that you have those classes that are like, even though they're just like once, they just happen every now and then, because with people having busy schedules, sometimes people making it out there every day or like twice, 3 times a week might not be as feasible. But doing a one and done workshop, 2 hours, and you're good is great. Again, gives people more things to do. We keep them local,
Right.
so people don't have to go far. Just stay local. Don't go anywhere else, because you can go and enjoy that. And then once you're out there, go to a restaurant that's on the same street as a studio, because I know there's a lot of options, right? Or if you want to go wine tasting, you said 7 minutes away. Everything is
Right.
close by. So
And olive oil tasting. I get people as far away from as Fremont. And
well,
so what can we do? And so I'm texting all kinds of great around here to do when they finish at the studio.
well, hey, so not only are we keeping people here, but we're also bringing people from the Bay Area here, right? Trying to take a break from all the traffic, which I understand. There's a lot of there's a lot of that, so they're probably like, let's go over there, because there's people that are probably coming to the Bay for travel during the weekend, and so I'm glad that they're coming over here, right? Because it's awesome to see them, and that's when you know that you've made progress, when you get people that are from all the way out there, like coming by and all that. So I'm glad that you're connecting with others and helping them out, have like a little itinerary, right? When you get here, there's this other thing, that other thing, and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
probably
And I'm always have to make reservations for people. Oh, you're here for anniversary. Can I book a reservation for you at this restaurant?
Oh, that's great. That helps them out, get some good local recommendations and all that. So that's awesome. I'm glad that. you're able to do that for them, and that you're getting people from all over that are going to the studio too, and
Yeah.
wanting to go to there, and escape from wherever they're from, being from over there, and just be able to enjoy what Lodi has to offer, and all that too. And you're helping contribute to that, and I'm glad that there's more and more things that are happening there, so people, they don't want to even leave Lodi. You could just stay there and not even go to Stockton, right? Which is, I'm sure, like 15, 20 years ago, maybe that wasn't a thing. People were probably like going to Stockton for a lot of things, right? But to keep
Yeah.
people in just the local community is even more amazing. So glad glad that's going on.
Yeah.
So one last thing before I let you go, and again, just thank you so much for your time and listening to me offline when we were just chatting as well. Uh, what are some of the like goals that you plan for the studio? What are some things that you're not sure when that might happen, or you might be sure, like, I want to do this in like 2 or 3 years from now, but that that are your dreams for the studio?
Okay, so I am working more with local schools, which I love. So I want to continue to build on that. I'm also just started developing my own glaze line. So there's a lot of commercial glazes you can buy, but I've started making my own. I'm so excited. I've only tested and started using the clear glaze, but I've made a test for a color glaze, and it's not been fired yet. But I'm super excited about that, to start developing some really special glazes that are manufactured right here in Lodi. Um, so that's something I'm really excited about. Uh, and I think that's about where I am at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, continue to connect with my community, and keeping busy with the studio, and continuing my own ceramic, adventure. And I also sell locally crafted goods. Uh, so we have local makers that you can find. Nothing off of online. It's local jewelry makers, watercolor artists, alcohol ink artists, some that crochet, some that do macrame, um, and you can all find them all in my little shop.
Wow. Hey, that's great. So not only ceramics, but there's more and more things there as well. So one more reason for people to go and visit the shop. Of course, I want to visit sometime, so I'll definitely be there. Hopefully within the next month or two, and I'll definitely do a video there and just all that stuff. But I do want to learn ceramics and get an idea of what that's like. So I'll be stopping by one of these days to actually take a workshop course there for the 2 hours.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Yeah. Oh, it's on. It's gonna happen. Yeah. I guarantee you, it's gonna happen at least this year. If I'm gonna aim for the next month or two, but at least this year I'll be there, and we'll take a video. We'll have someone take a video so they could see me like try and
Yes,
attempt to do something I've never even done before. I don't even think I've ever done anything with clay before. So
I'm so excited. You're gonna.
yeah. it's gonna be a a new experience for me, but it's always interesting again just to learn new things, and I'm glad that you have this space for people to like myself to go in and be like, I've never done this before. Like just I want to get to experience this and have the opportunity to stay here local.
Yeah,
And so I'm always like, for anyone out there who doesn't have a business, if you're trying to build a business and it's something that we don't have here yet, just just go at it. I'm sure you're gonna have a lot of people that are gonna be supporting you, just like you have here with the ceramics studio, because a lot of cities don't have things. And if you're really passionate, like yourself, about what you do, then that's even better, because not only is it gonna help your own business out, but I think just as you're doing, you're gonna inspire others to like what they do, right? Get to experience it, and maybe even in the future, even start their own business and have their own ceramics business coming out of your studio. Like I said, having the space there,
right.
and it's just so great. I mean, you're providing a lot of benefits to the local community, in different aspects of their life, right? Whatever they choose to do with it, whether
Right.
it's for fun or just a date night, you have the avenue for people to have that.
Yeah.
So, but thank you so much for being on here. I appreciate it.
You so much. And I can't wait for you to come visit Lodi.
Oh yeah, I need to go back. Like I said, I went to the street fair a few months ago, but I'm overdue. I always pass it whenever I'm like going to Sacramento. Of course, it's always the passing point, but I want to actually spend some more time there, especially when I leave really early because it's so conveniently located on in my commute as I go to soccer games over in Sacramento. Um, but yeah, this is great. Thank you also to everyone for listening to tonight's episode or for watching, because you can now watch as well. Can't forget that part. Some people choose to watch, some people choose to listen, but yeah, both options. Um, Once again, if you haven't seen the website yet, the209journey.com, go check it out. All the episodes that I've ever recorded are on there. Even going back to the first few episodes, it all got posted, thankfully. So you can go and listen to older episodes. But if you want to watch the episodes as well, you can also watch them on there. Or if you're on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next episode that gets posted here, because I do have quite a few episodes. And as I record this right now, I have a lot of episodes that I have to still record. So it's looking really good. I think I might be able to keep posting twice a week, which has been my goal for a while now. And I'm really excited to have a lot of guests from all over the 209 that are lined up and people that do different things. So that'll be coming here in the next upcoming weeks, and maybe also a live show scheduled. I'm working out a few things out. So once that gets posted, it'll be shared on social so you can get reminders for whenever the live show happens. So if you haven't followed the social media pages at the 209 Journey on Facebook and Instagram is getting really close to 600 followers as of this recording. By the time that I post this, I think it'll already like have passed it. But I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers. So if you guys can follow it, share it with a friend, tell people, hey, go follow this page, that would be super helpful, because I do think I'll reach 1,000 by the end of the year, but it's going to take a lot of work to get to it still, because it's still, again, maybe like 400 followers away by the time this gets posted. But I do thank everyone for following the page. And again, if you want to leave me a message, you can use the website, or you could send me a message, ideally on Instagram. That is the platform. And if I don't get back to you right away, leave a comment. I know there was someone that actually left me a comment on a post to remind me, because messages sometimes get sent to another inbox and then you don't get notified about those. And so it's great to actually get a reminder. Hey, go check that inbox, that secret inbox that messages get sent to. But with that being said, everyone, I hope you have a good morning or good night whenever you're listening to this. And you'll hear me next week here on the 209 Journey podcast.
And thank